Well, the sun's out a bit, time to start clearing out the camper. And yes, it's a complete mess in there. Everything's been thrown in to store it all. So first job, clear it all out. One of the early jobs I did on the camper was to wire the side door up to a remote. So now press the remote and the door opens. Much more convenient than having to go inside and push the button to open it. Getting somewhere. Managed to create a gap through to the back doors, so I can find out now why the back doors don't open anymore. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think it's catching a bit on the floor I've put in. We'll sort that out. Right, first job I'm going to do is take this window out. I'm going to remove the windows and put ABS panels in. Now, I know the windows are slightly structural. There's not an awful lot of strength in the body. You've got steel pillars going here and here, and I'm going to take the window out and I'm going to put some extra steel pillars in. When I work out where the windows are going to go, then I'll put some steel reinforcement in to help hold the roof up. I'm sure it will stay up all on its own, but I'm going to add a bit of reinforcement anyway. The edging strip down this window looks like it's part of this, but it isn't. It's just a bit of mastic, really. It's obviously been stuck in, probably masked up and then glued over and smoothed off, but it's coming out. And then we can see the edge of the window here. They're very, very tight on the gaps. I don't think there's any way of cutting them out with a bit of cheese wire. So I think the only way is going to be smash the window and clean it up. Right, one window out. Next one to do is this one. I'm going to tape it all up and just smash it out because it's not going to come out otherwise. Right, I've taped up the window. I've left that gap in the middle because there's a support bar there and that glass is going to stay stuck there. Ground sheeted up to catch the glass. So it's ready to break. So I need to clear all this junk from this side of the truck. So I've got clear floor to catch the glass. Right, pair of gloves, centre punch, clean the floor. I've covered up the water heater. So basically, centre punch on the glass, and that's it, smashed, gone the whole way along. It does seem a shame, but it's so much easier than messing about trying to cut it out. Now, once you're out, you can break out the centre bit, basically, just by giving it a push. Make sure you've got goggles on and gloves. So, and that's it. That's that one out. First thing, I'll just use a little hammer, which I'll put down somewhere, but just use a hammer, knock all the edges off, then go outside and cut it off. We'll get this one out as well. And that's a lot easier to pick that up and put it in the dustbin than it is picking up all the bits of glass. Break them all off. And that's the worst of it gone. Now, if I can find my little rubber hammer, just any bits like that, just go round, tap them off, make sure you got the worst of it out. That obviously is all going to want cutting off, and I'm going to try a new way of cutting it off. I did it all by hand yesterday, but today I'm going to try using the multi-tool on it and see what happens. So, window's gone. Yeah, looks a complete mess, but we'll see what it looks like by the end of the day. Well, having spent hours yesterday cutting the first one out with a chisel and a Stanley knife, you need one of these. This does it in seconds. Just run it up. And it does it in seconds, even with the glass there. I've only got the top bit and down there to do now. And 10 minutes later with the multi-tool, and it's all cut out and clean. Just got to get the hoover out and hoover up the bits at the bottom. But that's it, all cleaned out. Now I'm going to cut my plastic panels, get them to size. I've got some white tiger seal coming to stick them in with. I'm going to clean all the black off around the edges so that if I lose all this, I want a white joint. Eventually I'm going to paint it or whatever. So yeah, time to have a clear up and then cut the plastic panels. These are the ABS panels that I bought. They're 8x4 sheets. They're 2mm thick. They're quite floppy, so they're going to need a good bit of support behind them. The hardest part is cutting them. The only real successful way I found to do them is with a Dremel with a cutting disc on. They do crack quite easily if you try and cut them with a jigsaw. So I'm waiting for some Dremel blades to turn up, but I'll mark them up to size and see where we go. I've got 3 sheets, which should be not enough to do it. I'm going to need at least 1 more sheet to do it. So first 2 panels have been cut and trimmed. They're not stuck in yet. I'm waiting for the glue to arrive. I've just taped them into place with masking tape, but as you can see, they fit pretty flush. There's a little ripple in this one, but that's because it's not glued to anything. Once it's glued down, that'll flatten out quite nicely. It's more solid than I thought it was going to be. Once it's glued and it's got a couple of extra strengtheners in there, it should look fine. It looks a funny colour at the moment because it's got a plastic protector layer on it that just peels off. Once it's glued in, I'll peel that off. If we go and have a look inside, so you can see it's not not up flush, the wind's blowing it about at the moment, but it's just fitted roughly. Once it's glued in, I'll put some extra strengtheners down, and I'll put some across to work out where the windows are going to go, and then I'll put the strengtheners around the window so they hold the window in as well, and the same on this one. Yes, it's enclosed it more, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want to have curtains going the whole length of it. I wanted to have caravan windows in so that I've got all the benefits of caravan windows. They'll open, they've got fly screens, they've got screens for night time, and it'll just make it look a little bit more like a genuine motor caravan, hopefully, as far as DVLA are concerned. I had a question about the remote door. Basically, here originally was a push button to open the door. I just took that push button out, bought a cheap remote setup from eBay and wired it up, and now it just all works with a remote. It still locks. If you lock the van, it still locks. You have to unlock the van before you can open the door. But yeah, all works fine. So once I get the glue in the next couple of days, I'll get them glued in and then start fitting the caravan windows. Next job after doing that will be to get rid of these rear doors. I've had varying views on these. It'd be nice to open them and be able to get in and out, but I want to fit the original caravan seats with the sliding bed and the unit that goes at the end. So the doors are going to go. I'm either going to panel it with that plastic, or I have got a complete caravan back end here which came off the caravan I broke up, and I may cut the centre panel out of this and use that to block off the doors. I'll see. Please remember, if you want to keep up with the build, please tick like and subscribe. Remember, if you want to keep up with the build, please click the like and subscribe buttons, and you'll get notifications every time I post a video. Thank you. As part of the weight reduction program, I'm getting rid of the back doors. Now this as part of the weight reduction program, I'm getting rid of the back doors. This truck originally had a tail lift on it. It was a handicapped vehicle. It had a tail lift on it which weighed about 100 kilo. Obviously all the seats have gone, the glass panels from inside, the glass windows, and these doors weigh 20 kilos each. So that's 40 kilos gone from the two doors. So originally this thing had an unladen weight of 360 kilo. Now I'm aiming with everything out of it to get it down to about 2800 kilo. I think I should probably get there. The seats were quite heavy. The back doors are really heavy. The tail lift was heavy. Keep going and I should get it down 2800 kilo, which will be absolutely fine. I was going to take the door frame itself out, but it's almost impossible to remove. There's bolts down the side which come out easy, but there's screws at the bottom and at the top, and they do not want to come out. There's, you can't really see, but there's little screws in there, and there's no way I can see of getting them out without drilling them all out. But I think if I fit a back panel into the frame, as I'm going to paint the truck at the end anyway, it should look okay. We'll put something in there and see what happens. I've got this fiberglass caravan back panel, which I'm going to use some of this at least for the top of it, and then I may use the same plastic panel I use for the windows at the bottom. We'll see how it goes. So I've built a frame around the number plate panel in aluminium, and I've bonded the panel into it. That will be hinged up here and lock at the bottom, and that will be an opening panel. The rest of the back panel is just taped in place at the moment, but I think it looks quite good. Once it's all the same colour, I think it'll look quite original. So job for next week, if the weather's not too bad, is to bond in the back panel and bond in the side window panel covers, and then cut the holes for the caravan windows to go in the side. And that's it for this week. See you next week.